Hello and welcome everybody from the capital of Vietnam, from Hanoi. I'm standing now at the shore of the Hoan Kiem Lake, which is the lake of the returned sword. Well, it has a very interesting local legend, and I prepared you many interesting information, many local legends, but let's start with some historical introduction. So Hanoi's history can be traced back to the 1st century before the current era, when the historical Vietnamese nation called Ao Lac had its capital here. But after the collapse of the Ao Lac nation, this territory was conquered by Han China. Nowadays Hanoi has 8.5 million people population, and with that it's just the second largest city of Vietnam. But if you watch the vlog about Ho Chi Minh City, then you know this already, because that is the largest and the most populous city of the whole country. During the ancient times, Hanoi had several namings. Long Bien means the dragon edge, Tong Bin means song piece, and Long Do means the dragon's belly. Well, there are many references to dragon, which is called in Vietnamese language Long, because of the curved formation of the Red River, which is crossing Hanoi. So this is why people said that it has like a symbolic feature, symbolic formation, and this place should be called based on these dragon namings. In 1010, Emperor Li Tai To established the capital of the Dai Viet, Vietnamese nation, in the old center, in the old quarter of the current Hanoi, and he named the capital as Thang Long. Thang Long means in Vietnamese the ascending dragon. He said, the emperor said that he saw a dragon ascending on the Red River, so this is why they called the capital like that. And well, the Vietnamese emperors used the dragons many times as a symbol for their strength and power. It's a little bit funny that there was a Vietnamese restaurant in Germany where we went many times with my colleagues, and it was named the Thang Long restaurant, and we went there many times, but I never thought that Thang Long is actually a historical name of Hanoi. Thang Long remained the capital city of the Dai Viet nation, but the last Vietnamese imperial dynasty, the Nguyen dynasty, decided to move the capital to Hue, and this happened in 1802, and in 1831 they renamed Thang Long as Hanoi. So the current naming of this city comes from 1831, and it means the city between the rivers. So this naming comes from the Nguyen dynasty's emperor Minh Mang. Hanoi was conquered by the French in 1873, and it became the capital of French Indochina in 1887. French Indochina was the French colonial territory. During the Second World War, the Imperial Japanese Army conquered Hanoi in 1940, and they left the city 5 years later. So Hanoi became the seat of the Viet Minh government, led by Ho Chi Minh. This Viet Minh was the communist revolutionary party and movement, and well, in the same year Ho Chi Minh proclaimed independence for Vietnam. I talked about this more in the Vietnam War vlog, so I will not tell any details more in this place. Well, this didn't last long, because the French returned back and they occupied Hanoi in 1946, and after 9 years of bloody war, the first Indochina War was won by the Vietnamese, and in 1954 North Vietnam became independent, and Hanoi was the capital city of North Vietnam. During the Vietnam War, Hanoi suffered a lot because the US Air Force bombed the city many times, and the bridges were almost completely destroyed, and also many public transportation means, but these were later repaired. The Vietnamese nation never gave up, and well, after the war ended and North and the South were reunited, and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam was formed, Hanoi became the capital of the unified Vietnam on the 2nd July of 1976. Hanoi experienced a rapid construction boom recently. Many skyscrapers were constructed outside of the old quartier, outside of the old town, and these new constructions changed the city's skyline very much. So yeah, it is a very developed city. You can find many investors here, and it had a very huge business growth lately. So yeah, most of the tourists actually stay in the old quarter, because here you can find many sightseeing attractions. These are not far, and also if you book like a one-day trip, then pickup is for free if you stay in the old quarter. These one-day trips can be booked online, but also at the local tour agencies. It's very easy. Hanoi is the only capital of Southeast Asia with a subtropical climate. Summer from May to September is characterized by hot and humid weather with abundant rainfall and very few dry days. From October to November it is fall season. It is characterized by a decrease in temperature and precipitation. This time in the year mostly are warm and mild. Winters from December to January are characterized as being cool by the northeast monsoon, making Hanoi have a dry winter and a large amount of sunshine in the first half of winter, prolonged from December until middle of February. From the second half of winter, middle of February until the end of March, Hanoi is usually characterized with a large amount of drizzle and a little sunshine due to the strong activity of the southeast monsoon blowing moisture from the sea into inland. The most common religions in Hanoi are Buddhism, Taoism and Confucianism, but most of the people believe themselves as a Buddhist, and though they didn't really follow the religion. Many people ask the question if locals eat ducks or not. Well, my positive news are that they don't, but unfortunately in the 1990s and also in the beginning of the 2000 years, it was very popular. It was practiced to eat ducks, but not anymore. How I got here? I took a flight from Ho Chi Minh City to Hanoi. You can find several flights in one day between these two cities, and it's not very long. It is about 1 hour and 40 minutes, but if you feel more adventurous, you can take the Reunification Express train between Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, which crosses through 1,726 kilometers. 33 hours you will ride this train, so yeah, you must be very patient in order to accomplish this. Well, it is not for me, because I would also lose many days, and I still need many holidays for my future trips of this year. This is my first vacation in 2023, so yeah, this I just wanted to mention as a very interesting fact. Also, another interesting fact that Bangkok is a twin city of Hanoi, and if you want to watch a very detailed vlog presentation about Bangkok, then I will link you this video about it, so you can watch it later if you like, only after watching this interesting vlog about Hanoi. So now the legend of the Hoan Kiem Lake, which is behind me. It is a symbol of Vietnam, and most of the Vietnamese know about this story. It's a very famous part, and it's located in the center of the old quarter of Hanoi. So what happened? The Ming dynasty's China tried to colonize these Vietnamese territories, and there was a warlord called Li Loi who stood against the Chinese, and he started a rebellion, but it was not successful. They were losing each battles, and well, one day this warlord found a magical sword and he started to begin the battles with this magical sword, and finally the revolution was successful, and they could defeat the Chinese, and they could expel all the Chinese from these Vietnamese territories. So this warlord Li Loi became the Li Tai To emperor, and one day he was taking a boat trip on this lake, and he met a turtle, and this turtle told him that this magical sword actually belongs to the dragon king, and he should return it. And the king was very wise, and he took the words of the turtle as granted, and he gave back the sword to the turtle. So since then the lake is called the Hoan Kiem Lake, which means the lake of the returned sword. So this is the legend, but some people also call it the Turtle Lake, but actually Hoan Kiem means in Vietnamese the lake of the returned sword. There's also a small island on the Hoan Kiem Lake, and it's very famous. This is the Jade Islet. It has a temple of the Jade Mountain, in Vietnamese Den Ngoc Son. So it is the Ngoc Son temple which is located here. It was built on this Jade Islet, and it is dedicated to Confucian and Taoist philosophers, and also national hero called Tran Hung Dao. The small temple was built in the 19th century, and it was expanded in 1865. But who was this Hung Dao? He commanded the Vietnamese armies that repelled two out of the three major Mongol invasions in the late 13th century. So after his death, he was considered a god by the people. And this is the turtle which took the magical sword from the king. Nice artwork.
Okay. Right, right. You are a good teacher.
Bây giờ là để ít con thế em chưa, chúng nó chưa có nhu cầu thì có nó nhiều mỗi thằng 2-3 thằng trai cho chừng tí thôi, nó phải có nhu cầu, đúng không? Nó có nhu cầu hơn chứ bây giờ nó chẳng nhu cầu thật, đúng không?
In front of us is the Turtle Tower, which is a small tower in the middle of the Hoan Kiem Lake. The island was first used as a fishing site. In the 15th century, under Emperor Li Tan Tong, a tower was erected to improve the comfort of the king's fishing. In the 17th century, the Ta Vong temple was built on this islet, but this temple disappeared under the Nguyen lords in the 18th century already. It is a much more interesting story that in 1886, while Vietnam was occupied by the French, a musician who was secretly working for the French received permission from the government to build a tower in the middle of Hoan Kiem Lake in the honor of Li Loi. I just told you about the legend of Li Loi, who became the emperor, and he gave back the sword to the turtle. So in order to remember this legend, this musician wanted to construct this tower, but he actually double-crossed also the French, because he had a secret intention. The musician planned to secretly bury his father within the tower, but local people, the residents of Hanoi, discovered his plans and removed his father's body from the structure. Absolutely incredible story, but the locals kept the three-story tower, so we can see it also now. So this is built in the 19th century. When we walk around Hanoi, we notice that many houses are congested, and it's very interesting that houses are built in close proximity because people want to save some property tax. This tax is based on the width of the building, and this is why there are so many of the tube houses in the city. The system of property tax was introduced in Vietnam in the 19th century. So as you can observe that the width of this house is very narrow, and also the next house is very narrow, but behind it, it is actually much more larger. So yeah, that doesn't matter, because the taxes must be paid based on the width of the house. This is the old quarter of Hanoi. For local people, this is the city center and the oldest part of the city. You can find all kinds of shops here. Street food, money exchange, local tour companies. The traffic is very chaotic because, as you can see, the sidewalks are usually used as parking for the motorbikes. So as a tourist, you need to take care where you step. I think the traffic is more chaotic than in Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, which is also kind of complicated to walk there. Yeah, so this is what I just said. You cannot walk on the sidewalks because it's full of motorbikes, so you need to walk here next to the motorbikes. This street is not very crowded, but yeah, there are some more crowded streets. So since the ancient times, the old quarter is split based on manufacturing and commerce. So you can imagine, like the district was split in 36 streets, and each street had its own topic, its own commerce. Very easy. So I just a creative example that if there was gold manufacturers, then they would be on the same street, and if there are others selling clothes, then that's another street. Selling food, another street. So this is how it is actually worked. You can find dozens of street food. So because of this map of the old quarter, it is also called the quarter of the 36 streets, but it's not very commonly used. Most of the people just say to it it's the old quarter. You can also buy local SIM card here and many transportation options. I mean, you have many local tour companies which offer these kind of transports everywhere, like a one-day trip or two-day trips or even more. You can sleep on the boat if you want in Halong Bay. That's also an idea. This is just a simple chaos. It can be even worse. But after some hours, after some days, you can get used to it, so it's not horrible. But comparing to Ho Chi Minh City, it is more harder to walk around here. I will tell you another legend now. There was a general in the Chinese army called Qiao Bian, and he was practicing witchcraft. He made his own army invincible, and on the Vietnamese side there was an ancient god called Long Do. He was the only one who could resist against these witchcraft spells, and he could defeat the Chinese. And in order to honor Long Do, the locals constructed this temple in the 19th century. So we are standing now at the ground of that temple, which was actually later reconstructed and renamed. Well, I will tell you the next legend about renaming it. So Long Do temple was constructed in the 9th century, and some centuries later, Li Taitou, the emperor who gave back the sword to the turtle, he wanted to construct the walls for a citadel, and from unknown reasons these walls kept collapsing every time, so it was somehow unsuccessful to construct the citadel's walls. But one day the emperor Li Taitou was praying here at the Long Do temple, and what happened? He saw a white horse leaving this temple and going outside, and the horse left some footprints on the grounds outside, and after that the horse just vanished, and the emperor thought that this is a sign from the gods and a symbolic meaning, so he ordered the construction of the walls exactly at the place where the white horse left those footprints, and that was very successful, so the construction took place and the walls didn't collapse that time. And after that the emperor decided to rename Long Do temple as Bach Ma temple. What is the meaning of Bach Ma in Vietnamese language? It is the temple of the white horse. So now we are in the temple of the white horse at Bach Ma temple, and we'll look around. Wow. This is the statue of the white horse. Wow. The throne of the emperor. I think it is a very heavy thing to carry. He needed many men to carry it for his parades across the streets of Thang Long. The national currency of Vietnam is dong.
And did you just say dong?
You can imagine high inflation here like in Laos and in Cambodia. So 1 million dong is actually just 19 euro. So it's very easy to become a millionaire here. Now we visit the imperial palace of the Vietnamese emperors called Imperial Citadel of Thang Long. It was constructed in 1010 by Emperor Li Tai-tong. I already mentioned his name regarding to the Hoan Kiem legend, because he was who gave back the sword to the turtle. So he ordered the construction of this palace. It was constructed between 1010 and 1011, and that time Hanoi was named Thang Long, so that's why it is called the Imperial Citadel of Thang Long. It was subsequently expanded by subsequent dynasties until 1810, when the capital was moved from Thang Long to Hue. So that time the Nguyen dynasty decided to move the capital, and well, many centuries this was the seat of the Vietnamese court. When the large complex was first built, Thang Long Citadel was built according to a plan of 3 sectors arranged in rings, similar to the modern layout. The outermost sector is primary defensive fortification of the citadel called La Tan or Kin Tan. The middle sector is the imperial city called Hoang Tan, and between these two layers is a residential area. The innermost sector is then the forbidden city, also called purple forbidden city, from the Vietnamese Tu Cam Tan, a term identical to the forbidden city in Beijing in China, associated with the common view of the Li dynasty as Vietnamese golden age. The archaeological remains have a deep significance to the national history of Vietnam. In 1805, Giang Long enacted an extensive reconstruction of the old imperial citadel, which truncated the complex and reconstructed the outer wall in the French de Vauban style. In 1831, during his administrative reform, Minh Mang changed the name of Thang Long to Hanoi. When it was first controlled by the French as the capital of Indochina, between 1885 and 1958, the citadel of Hanoi was largely demolished to make the land for offices and barracks, except for the north gate and the flag tower. What remains of Hanoi citadel to this day is only an archaeological site and restored. Systematic restoration and excavation began in the 21st century. In mid-1945, the citadel was used by the Imperial Japanese Army to imprison over 4,000 French colonial soldiers. During the Vietnam War, the Imperial Citadel was used as an administrative capital and a headquarters for the North Vietnamese Ministry of Defense and Army. In 2009, the citadel was inscribed as a special relic of national significance, special national site, making it the first site listed under that category. The central sector of the Imperial Citadel was also listed in UNESCO's World Heritage Site in 2010. The site has undergone several modifications as part of a larger ongoing plan for restoration. This is the 33.4 meters tall flag tower. It is one of the landmarks of the city, and as I mentioned, only 2 buildings remain from the citadel, and this is the second one, so it is often mentioned as the symbol of Hanoi. It's a very important landmark of the city. We can visit only the first 2 tiers of the tower. The spire is closed, and it's always closed, so I'm not feeling frustrated about this. It's not like it is closed only during my visit, because this also happened to me many times, so yes. It's totally acceptable now. So actually this tower is on the grounds of the museum of the Vietnamese army, and the garden of this museum is the most famous, because we can see many vehicles of the first Indochina war and of the Vietnam War. Well, from the tower we have a amazing bird eye view of these vehicles, airplanes, and also some cars. It has a very sarcastic name. It is called the Garden of Toys. Well, now maybe they are just some toys, but it was not so funny. It was a source of death and destroying. Very bloody times. So let's go downstairs and take a closer look of these toys. I never saw something like this. A crushed airplane. It's absolutely incredible. I never saw such a thing in my life. In the Vietnamese war, the North Vietnamese armed forces shot down 4,181 aircrafts, including this one. Oh my god. This is absolutely incredible. This is the Chua Mot Kot temple, the one pillar pagoda. It is a historic Buddhist temple in the central of Ba Dinh district near the Thang Long Citadel. The original pagoda was built in 1049 and had some additions after. It is regarded alongside the Perfume Temple, which is another side of Vietnam. It is regarded as one of the Vietnam's most iconic temple, together with this mentioned Perfume Pagoda. According to a legend, Emperor Li Tai Tong was childless, and he dreamed that he met the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, who handed him a baby son while sitting on a lotus flower. So after that, Li Tai Tong married a peasant girl that he met, and she bore him a son. The emperor constructed the temple in gratitude for this Bodhisattva, for this dream, in 1049. having been told by a monk to build this temple, and erecting one pillar in the middle of a lotus pond similar that he saw in his dream. The pagoda was restored and rebuilt in the 19th century and also in 1922. The temple is built of wood on a single stone pillar, 1.25 meter in diameter and 4 meter in height, and it is designed to resemble a lotus blossom, which is a Buddhist symbol of purity, since a lotus blossoms in a muddy pond. So yeah, we can just now listen to the songs of the frogs. There are many frogs on this pond, but cannot see any lotus blossoms. But the temple itself looks very beautiful. This is President Ho Chi Minh's mausoleum. It is a mausoleum which serves as the resting place of Vietnamese revolutionary leader and President Ho Chi Minh. It is a large building located in the center of Ba Dinh Square, where Ho, chairman of the Workers' Party of Vietnam from 1951 until his death in 1969, read the Declaration of Independence on the 2nd September of 1945, establishing the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. Construction work began on the 2nd September of 1973, and the mausoleum was formally inaugurated on the 29th August of 1975. It was inspired by Lenin's mausoleum in Moscow, but incorporates distinct Vietnamese architectural elements such as the sloping roof. The exterior is made of grey granite, while the interior is grey, black and red polished stone. The embalmed body of President Ho Chi Minh is preserved in the cooler central hall of the mausoleum, which is protected by a military honor guard. The body lies in a glass case with dim lights. This is despite his last wish, his last will, which stated that he wanted to be cremated. If you want to visit, you can visit it on weekdays between 8 AM and 11 AM. I'm sorry, I forgot, it's actually closed on Monday and Friday, and any other days you can visit the mausoleum between 8 AM and 11 AM. I mistaken it with other place. So if you want to visit, you can go in this time table, in this time area, in this time slot. Shorts, sleeveless t-shirts or hats are not permitted. You may be requested to store day packs, cameras and phones before you enter, because talking, putting your hands in your pockets and photography are strictly prohibited. So the queue is usually very large, and you need to wait many hours to see whose body at well, close range, you can say. So the mausoleum is usually closed from 4th September to 4th November, while his involved body goes to Russia for maintenance. There is also a big square with gardens surrounding the mausoleum, with nearly 250 different species of plants and flowers, all from different regions of Vietnam. This is the Red River, also known as the Hong River. It is a 1,149 kilometer long river that flows from Yunnan in southwest China through northern Vietnam to the Gulf of Tonkin. The reddish-brown, heavily silt-laden water gives the river its name, but now it is not so reddish-brown. Usually in the rainy season they are a little bit more flooded, and the water is more full with mud and dust from the mountains, and that's why it has a more reddish-brown color in that season. The Red River is notorious for its violent floods with its seasonally wide volume fluctuations. Intense seasonal floods are made worse by erosion, development and pollution. The river's delta is a major agricultural area of Vietnam, with a vast area devoted to rice. Long Bien Bridge is a historic cantilever bridge across the Red River that connects two districts, Hoan Kiem and Long Bien, of the city of Hanoi. The bridge was built between 1899 and 1902 by the architects Dide and Pillet of Paris, and it was opened in 1903. Before North Vietnam's independence in 1954, it was called Paul Dumé Bridge, named after Paul Dumé, the Governor General of French Indochina and then a French president. At 2.4 kilometers in length, it was at that time one of the longest bridges in Asia. For the French colonial government, the construction was of strategic importance in securing control of North Vietnam. More than 3,000 Vietnamese were taken as slaves to do the construction, but after Hanoi was liberated on the 10th October of 1954, the bridge was renamed as Long Bien Bridge because the bridge is located next to the Thang Long Imperial Citadel. Also from distance it resembles a dragon flying across the Red River. It was heavily bombed during the Vietnam War due to its critical position. Only some parts of the original structure remain intact, while larger sections had been built later to repair the holes. Hence the bridge is a living historical relic and now stands like a patched up war veteran. It can be said that there is not any bridge that suffers so much pain as the Long Bien Bridge did. Today only trains, mopeds and bicycles and pedestrians use the dilapidated bridge, while all other traffic is diverted to the nearby Xuong Dong Bridge. I show you that one, it's right in front of us. and well, there are also some other newly built bridges. Sometimes under the bridge poor families live in boats on the Red River, coming from many rural areas of Vietnam. For several years, Vietnamese and foreign historians have been frustrated by the amount of misinformation circulated regarding certain heritage structures in Vietnam, that three best known examples being claimed that Gustav Eiffel designed it and built it, the Long Bien Bridge in Hanoi, the Truong Tien Bridge in Hue, and the Saigon Post Office. These are all wrong information. These were not built by Gustav Eiffel, the famous designer of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Now we left the old quarter of Hanoi, and we can find many skyscrapers here. As you can see, the environment is totally different. Many offices and many investors in this area. But what is more important for us, it's the Lotte Tower, the Lotte center of Hanoi, because this skyscraper also has an observation deck on the 65th floor, and we will go there. I hope that we'll have a nice view of Hanoi, because the weather is not really good, it's not really clear, but let's hope. So yeah, this is the Lotte Tower, constructed in 2014, and it has a 5-star hotel, the Lotte Hotel, and a spa, also many shopping stores, so it's also functioning like a mall. So yeah, you can find all kind of luxury here. This is very different Hanoi, very different from what we experienced until now. I've arrived already to the 65th floor. We are 272 meters above the ground level. Yeah, it's a very huge skyscraper. Here we can also find the skywalk like in the KL Tower in Kuala Lumpur, which I presented you before. I think it's a new trend because also in Dubai you can find similar skywalk places. You can take some photos with an angel wing. Actually, also on the other side there's another one, another skywalk, and there you can take photos with a big heart. Instagram photos. Dye is the traditional Vietnamese national garment. Besides suits and dresses nowadays, men and women can also wear ao dye in formal occasions. It is a long split tunic worn over silk trousers. This is for men and this is for women. But it can also look like in other ways, so it can be extremely colorful. And here you can also rent these clothes in order to make some photos with the beautiful view. This is the Temple of Literature, or also called Van Mieu. It is a temple dedicated to Confucius. The temple also hosts the Imperial Academy, Vietnam's first national university. The temple was built in 1070 at the time of Emperor Li Tantong. But who was Confucius? He was a Chinese philosopher and politician, and he lived in the time of spring and autumn in this period, and traditionally considered the paragon of Chinese sages. The spring and the autumn period was a period in Chinese history from approximately 770 to 476 before the current period. It was first constructed in 1070 but renovated many times. First reconstruction took place during the Tran dynasty in the period of 1225 and 1400. For nearly 2 centuries, despite wars and disasters, the temple has preserved the ancient architectural styles of many dynasties, as well as precious relics. Major restorations have taken place in 1920, 1954 and 2000. first university of Vietnam. There was a rat. Saint Joseph Cathedral is a Catholic church in the old quarter of Hanoi. It serves as the cathedral of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Hanoi, and the cathedral was named after Joseph, the patron saint of Vietnam. Construction began in 1884 with an architectural style resembling the Notre Dame of Paris. The church was one of the first structures built by the French colonial government in French Indochina when it opened in December of 1886. It is the oldest church of Hanoi. Absolutely amazing architecture, neo-Gothic style. It's also interesting that Sunday it is actually so busy that the prayer hymns are broadcasted, because not all Catholics are able to enter the cathedral, so most of the people remain on the streets and listen to the prayers, to the hymns. Yeah, so the cathedral conducts a mass several times during the day. As you can see, it is in a very good shape, so that's because the building underwent major renovation between 2020 and 2022. This is, for example, a pottery street where you can find all these vases. Hopefully no zombies inside. I'm just joking. There was a very stupid and funny game, the vase breaker, where you need to break the vases, and there were some zombies inside. This was actually Plants vs Zombies, the official name. It was a mini game inside of that Plants vs Zombies game. So yeah, this is how you can imagine this street. You can find these pottery stuff, and the other street you will find other manufacturing shops. Every week from 7 p.m. Friday to 12 a.m. Sunday, all kind of vehicles are prohibited from the streets around Hoan Kiem Lake, leaving the entire space for pedestrians. There are many things that you can try out on Hoan Kiem Walking Street, watching street performances of talented artists, joining in various traditional games, or enjoying local delicacies offered by street vendors, just to name a few, but you have also many other options. So this is called the Hoan Kiem Walking Street. It was established in 2016. It was the idea of the Hanoi tourism development program.
Toast, do you need?
Thế thì mày gọi cho anh là Có vàng còn đúng không? Đúng rồi. Không, thì bác tưởng là hỏi là
옛날에 뭐 내가 뭐 6년 전, 10년 전 다 갔지. 잘 모르는 거지.
This is the Dong Suan market. It was originally built by the French administration in 1889. It has been renovated several times, with the latest in 1994, when a huge fire destroyed almost the whole market. So that's why you can observe some communist style architecture on the market, because after it was rebuilt it gained a different style. So nowadays Dong Xuan market is the largest covered indoor market of Hanoi. There the wholesale traders sell everything from clothes, household goods and foodstuffs. It's a 3-story building and it is divided in stalls for wholesale and the small traders who sell clothes, household goods, foodstuffs of every kind, and fresh vegetables, Vietnamese dishes can also be found here. So many tourists come here because they want to experience street food inside. So the market not only offering a plentiful range of items and prices, but also has a culinary paradise loved by both Vietnamese and foreign tourists. Just 100,000 Vietnamese dong for 2 dishes, or well, it depends what you choose, but it's usually very cheap, so you can fill your stomach with a huge variety of delicious meals. You can also try here the Vietnamese pudding called che. It is usually eaten on a hot day, and well, there's also plentiful range of soups and juices. So yeah, let's go inside and discover it. So the street food is not inside of the building, it's outside. The tradition of the water puppet theater is coming from this territory from North Vietnam, around the Red River. So, well, I should have presented the history of this theater from here, but I did it in the Ho Chi Minh City vlog. Well, now I will not do it again, and I also don't have time to visit another performance here in Hanoi. Actually, here in Hanoi you can find much more theaters and much more scheduled performances, theater shows in comparison with Ho Chi Minh City. So yeah, I can just link that vlog from Ho Chi Minh City, and if you would like to watch it, you can do it. But well, I don't have time to represent it again, and well, in that other vlog I also added some scenes from that theater show, so you can imagine how does it look like. Actually, all the theaters are very similar, they all do the same stuff. So yes, this is actually what I wanted to say, that in this vlog we will miss the water puppet show. The Lenin monument was a gift from the Soviet Union in the 1980s. This is the only statue of the Soviet dictator in Southeast Asia. The 5.2 meter bronze figure was first erected in 1980 in Thong Nhat Park to celebrate what would have been Lenin's 110th birthday. It was moved to its current location in 1982, and since then the park is named Lenin Park. It's a small green space located in the middle of the hustle of bustle of Hanoi. Many skateboarder guys here. Oh, they got some skills, they are good. So this was the vlog about Hanoi. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if that's so, please subscribe to my channel if you didn't do it yet. It's very important to push on the bell icon, because this is how you get notified about the new contents. Have a nice day and goodbye.